Good day. I hope everybody is doing well. I am reading out loud a chapter a day of Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. I had found this book when I was reading the Tao and found the concepts of these parables a little challenging. So I thought this would help to um, me get a better understanding. I find also reading aloud helps me to grasp the concepts better, as well as I used to be a part of a book club where we actually read the book together, and I really enjoyed that. So I had come up with the thought of doing this on YouTube. So if this graces your day, I hope you are very well, and I'm going to go ahead and do my reading. Third verse. Putting a value on status will create contentiousness. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to still. But by not displaying what is desirable, you will cause the people's heart to remain undisturbed. The sage governs by emptying minds and hearts, by weakening ambitions and strengthening bones. Practice, not doing. When action is pure and selfless, everything settles into its own perfect place. Entitled Living Contentment, This third verse of the Tao Te Ching advises rearranging priorities to ensure contentment. Focusing on obtaining more objects of desire encourages external factors to have control over us. Pursuit of status, be it monetary or possessions of power, blinds us to our relationship to the eternal Tao, along with the content life that is available. Overvaluing possessions and accomplishments stem from our ego's fixation on getting more: wealth, belongings, status, power, or the like. The Tao recommends refraining from this kind of discontented way of life, which leads to thievery, contentiousness, and confusion. Rather than seeking more, the Tao practice of gratitude is what leads us to the contented life. We must replace personal desire with the Tao-centered question, how may I serve? By simply changing these kinds of thoughts, we will begin to see major changes taking place in our life. The advice to practice not doing and trusting that all will settle into a perfect place may sound like a prescription for laziness and failed society, yet I don't think that's what Lei Tu is offering here. He isn't saying to be slothful and inactive. Rather, he is suggesting that trusting in the Tao is the way to be directed by the source of your creation and to be guided by a higher principle. That your ego-centered, let's try that from the beginning. He isn't saying to be slothful or inactive. Rather, he's suggesting that trusting in the Tao is the way to be directed by the source of your creation and to be guided by a higher principle than your ego-driven desires. Ego-fixated once can get in the way of divine essence. So practice getting ego out of the way and be guided by the Tao in all that you do. In a state of frenzy, trust in the Tao. Listen for what urges you on forward, free from ego domination, and you'll paradoxically be more productive. Allow what's within to come forward by suspending worldly determination. In this way, it will no longer be just you who is conducting this orchestration that you call your life. Much of the third verse contains advice on how to govern. I view this not as a political or administrative advice, but as it pertains to our immediate family, and in a larger scene, the human family that compromises all of those with whom we're in contact on a daily basis. Encourage your relatives to empty their minds of thoughts about status and acquisition, and think instead about serving others and contributing to the health and strength of all. Model the harmony of the attitude. After all, everyone has a calling to be inspired. The source of creation is not interested in material possessions or status. It will provide what is needed. It will guide, motivate, and influence you and everybody else. Ego and its incessant inventory of desire probably needs to be weakened so that the beauty of the Tao can be sensed. Demonstrate this to others by being a leader who removes the egocentric temptations that foster envy, anger, and competition. If Leitu were able to review our contemporary world from his 25,000-year-old perspective, I believe that he'd offer the following advice based on the third verse of the Tao Te Ching. Remind yourself daily that there is no way to happiness. Rather, happiness is the way. Remind yourself daily there is no way to happiness. Rather, happiness is the way. You may have a long list of goals that you believe will provide you with contentment when they're achieved. Yet, if you examine your state of happiness in this moment, you'll notice that the fulfillment of some precious ambitions didn't create an enduring sense of joy. Desires can produce anxiety, stress, and competitiveness, and you need to recognize those that do. Bring happiness to every encounter in life, instead of expecting external events to produce joy. By staying in harmony on the path of the Tao, all the contentment you could ever dream of will begin to flow into your life. The right people, the means to finance where you're headed, and the necessary factors will come together. Stop pushing yourself. Leitu would say, and feel gratitude and awe for what is. Your life is controlled by something far bigger and more significant than the petty details of your lofty aspirations. Trust the perfection of the eternal Tao, for it is the ultimate source of the 10,000 things. The Tao is working for and with you, so you needn't remind it of what you crave or what you think it has forgotten on your behalf. Trust the harmony of the Tao. It took care of everything that you needed in your creation, as well as your first 9 months of life, without any assistance from you, and totally independent of any desires you may have or had. The Tao will continue to see if you can trust it and practice not doing. Inventory your desires and then turn them over to the unnameable